Yes! All of that is entirely appropriate. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So former Fox and Friends weekend host Pete Hegseth faced some tough questions during today's confirmation hearings. Meanwhile, another Fox and Friends host spent the morning removing a paper jam from the Xerox machine. During the hearing, Tim Kaine grilled Hegseth over cheating. Because if there's one thing Tim hates, it's men who cheat on their wives. I hope he got the HPV vaccine before he did that. I don't even know what that is. Kid Rock is scheduled to perform at Donald Trump's inaugural celebration. Because of the occasion's historical importance, he'll be wearing his formal wife beater.
Slingshot.
Starbucks customers will now have to buy something in order to use the bathroom, especially if they're leaving a grande. Climate warrior Leo DiCaprio has fled L.A. on a private jet as the fires continue to rage. He was seen leaving his house with his most prized possessions, Brittany and Amber. In defending his fire response, Governor Newsom sent people to a DNC fundraising site. He also defended his homeless policy with a coupon for tents. Oh. An OnlyFans sex worker claims she was with over 1,000 men in 12 hours, breaking the previous record set by the Lincoln Tunnel. Oh. I know. Yeah. Mark Zuckerberg ordered the removal of tampons from men's bathrooms at Meta. Tim Waltz said this means war. Which means he then ran away. Kevin O'Leary claimed Donald Trump shot a .68 at Mar-a-Lago, with Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson replying, "Big deal, we shoot that many over a holiday weekend." Ex-WNBA player Liz Cambage is now on OnlyFans and makes 10 times as much as she did as a pro athlete. Call me curious, but I wonder if she's kept her ball handling skills. What? I don't get it. All right, starting January 20th, we're about to see a radical change. Let's call it the return of common sense. It's quite a departure from a woke intern signing pardons for a chief executive who can't remember if he's giving a eulogy or climbing into the box. We're actually going to have decisions designed for the real world. America first instead of America sucks. Yes, with Trump imminent, common sense is on the march. Start with the glut of companies who've now rolled back their DEI policies. McDonald's, Walmart, John Deere, Harley-Davidson, Lowe's, Meta. So that giant sucking sound you hear? No, it's not Kamala on a job interview. What? Wait. She's not good at job interviews. Weird. That sound is thousands of DEI consultants, woke content checkers, and HR quota cops polishing up their resumes and seeing their plans for a lake house go up in smoke, or rather down the drain. Either way. That's the true Trump effect, a wave of practical thinking that's driving the elites insane. Take Starbucks, for instance. They just announced that if you want to use their restrooms, you got to buy something other than time. In other words, if you want to take a dump and then shoot up, do that where you're supposed to, on the subway. Now, you can't walk 10 feet in America without bumping into a Starbucks. These joints have become like America's public square. So this policy shift is a tell. It's like a blood test whose results give you the American mood. And that mood is enough of this indulgent, childish detour the nation has taken, and back to the hard reality of things that actually work for society's benefit. You'll even see it in Trump's foreign policy. Take Greenland. Trump would like to. He's not alone. This week, House GOP members introduced a bill that would authorize Trump to negotiate with Denmark to acquire Greenland. And the Danish government are reportedly open to discuss boosting U.S. military presence there. Hell, one poll found a majority of Greenlanders approving to become part of the U.S. Here's a few of them right now. They're an adorable people. And no surprise, the elites here and overseas are melting down, which must mean, again, it makes sense. These people get a rash on their ass every time they're faced with reason and logic. For some people, it's the size of Greenland. So why focus on Greenland, on Canada, on the Panamac anal? Thank you.
Your fault.
Back to the monologue. But it's simple. Shipping, prices. Trump has vowed to bring down inflation, and he knows that the cost of moving goods in an age of global trade has the greatest impact on the prices Americans pay. Can you imagine Biden or Kamala knowing something like that? I guess it's not price gouging after all, you dumbasses. But what Trump is really doing is creating leverage, something the last president needed to get himself out of bed. But it's leverage to ensure that as new shipping lanes open up in the Arctic, America isn't literally left out in the cold, while Russia and China assert themselves up north and south too, in the Panamac anal. In other words, these are policies that might actually benefit the American economy. These aren't the fever dreams of a non-binary furry whose pronouns are doggy and style. And people who know the global economy get this. So what about those evil tariffs? Listen to J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon school Leslie Stahl on Trump's tariffs.
But what about advice to him on some of the policies that he's threatening to do that could hurt the economy? For instance, tariffs.
I have not spoken about tariffs. I think you should read The Art of the Deal. You know, he's a negotiator. He lays out some very tough things, and sometimes it works. We have to worry more about national security, resiliency, diversified supply chains, and we didn't. Tariffs are a way, are a tool, properly used, that can help get some of those issues resolved.
You think it is a legitimate negotiating tool?
Absolutely.
Also, you're a tool. Put that in your stall, Leslie. So you need more proof that common sense is returning. The owner of the LA Times just admitted his paper's endorsement of Karen Bass for mayor was an error. Wow, you think? That's a gutsy take. Next, he'll say it was a mistake to smoke cigarettes on the Hindenburg. So it seems common sense is spreading faster than crabs at Larry Kudlow's Seafood Bonanza. The backlash has backed off. Bottom line, January 20th is really going to be about the return of the adults. So enjoy your playtime, kiddos. In 6 days, recess is over. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He was in the Shark Tank, and now he's in my hot tub. Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary. She traded the sidelines for the headlines. Host of the Michelle Tafoya podcast, Michelle Tafoya. Someone gave her a baby shower, but she still uses her regular one. New York Times best-selling author and Fox News contributor, Cat 2. And for him, all golf is miniature golf. New York Times best-selling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion, Tyrus.
No.
Kevin, you are a businessman, a wealthy businessman, a billionaire, and you're watching this kind of unfold. And what is your take on this? As seeing that, like, what it seems like the right moment for somebody who's a builder who knows business comes into power.
And I tell everybody about Trump, you have to learn how to distinguish the noise from the signal. He says outrageous stuff. He's bombastic. But in the signal are some really interesting opportunities. I mean, you know, I'm going to buy Greenland sounded so dumb just 4 days ago. Maybe there's something there. Maybe they don't buy it. Maybe they become the protectorate. They buy that from Denmark. So many different deals. This guy's a real estate deal guy. What we do in real estate, and you're going to buy something, and I do this too, plant of equipment. Let's say I think it's worth $100 million. I go there with the agent and the seller. I go to the boiler room and I say, oh, look, a rat.
Yeah.
It's a rat, isn't it? It's not worth $100 million. It's $20 million. Let's start there. That's what's going on here, whatever he's talking about.
Everything's in negotiation. See, I would buy Greenland, and then I would sue false advertising, not green. Everything can be a tool, Michelle. I wish you were my tool. What are you oohing at? It has no inherent meaning. There is, what Kevin's bringing is like there's a disconnect going on where Trump critics hear, oh my God, he's going to do this, when all he's doing, like tariffs, for example. Tariffs are bad, tariffs are bad. No, they're not good or bad. They're just a negotiating tool.
He was this way the last time as well, and everyone screamed and yelled every time. It makes you wonder, doesn't you now, when he had that perfect phone call with Volodymyr Zelensky in Ukraine, and someone went running off to say, he did this, he did that. You're like, you know what? Chances are he said, hey, it was completely normal and, above board.
Yes.
And everyone is constantly looking for this. By the way, the United States also tried to buy Greenland in 1887, or is that 1867? 67, 1910, 1946, and 2019. This is not this crazy, what does he want to buy Greenland for? And you detailed it really well in the open.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The strategic sense it makes. He's also, our diplomatic muscles have atrophied so much over the last 4 years. He is flexing them again so that China and Russia and Iran and all these other places know we're back in business. I will say one more thing, Greg. The rapidity with which all this stuff, this common sense is returning and all these rules are changing and people are scrapping DEI, it shows how performative all of that stuff was.
Right.
It didn't work.
Yeah, we talk about the strategic location of Greenland, but we can't forget the Panamac anal. Cat, it's right down there. Down there, it's very small, very tight. And right now, the Chinese seem to be running the place. I want to get the Chinese out of the Panamac anal. Get out of there. Ah. Anyway.
I feel bad that you don't get to go on maternity leave.
Give me a couple of weeks. We'll see what I can do.
I think actually that some of the kind of outlandish stuff that Trump says is why people voted for him, actually. And I think it's kind of a reaction to being told for so long that you can't say certain things. I mean, compare the two. For a while, remember, I've brought this up before, when Kamala was actually doing that thing where she was like, hi, my name is Kamala Harris, and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm wearing a blue dress.
Yeah.
Compare that to the guy that's like, I think we should buy Greenland. And then the reporter's like, but certainly, you wouldn't use military force. He's like, I don't know, maybe I would. I think people could. Obviously, there is a middle ground between the two things, but people were so sick of that other extreme that people don't understand that what they keep pointing out as some negative or this is so crazy, I think is what people see as almost a relief after the last 4 years.
I agree. Tyrus, on St. Patrick's Day, do you often get mistaken for Greenland? Just came up with it.
Come here.
I just came up with it. That is a good one, and I came up with it. I get so happy. Stop it. Stop it.
No, I don't get mistaken for Greenland. I get mistaken for the one brother standing in an Irish circle. Listen, he's doing something that is completely foreign to this administration. He's talking from a position of power. And when you have a position of power, you can say like we're going to take it. But what is that? Oh, he's probably not going to buy Greenland. But what Denmark is saying is, we don't want to sell it, but you are more than welcome to install your military there,
Yeah.
which was the whole point in the first place. So when you're from a position of power, because the other side is Denmark's going, he could take it. I mean, after all, they have bikes and snowballs. It's not going to last long. Because he could, and he's letting you know it's there. And that completely opposite. It was an apology tour in this last administration where the first thing they do is like, we're so sorry for your oppressed people. We're so sorry for this. We're so sorry for that. And they're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And they ran roughshod all over us. And people got emboldened to break out wars. They got emboldened to do this stuff on October 7th because of the weakness. Now it's a position of power. Everybody's freaking out because everything he's saying, he could do. But he's making them an offer they can't refuse. So at the end, we'll have our military installations in Greenland, whether it's New Greenland or New Texas or just regular old Greenland. He'll have it. The Panama Canal, same thing.
What's that?
So
I'm renaming it the Panamac Anal. Yeah. Never on the first date.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.